Yeah, we're live. You should hear me right now, Pete. Sorry about that. I was on mute. So, welcome to another Founder Wisdom podcast. Today with us is Pete Neubig. Pete is a co-founder and CEO of VPM Solutions. We're going to talk about that company today. It's the only platform designed for property managers by property managers. No upfront fees and no fees at all. You can check him out at vpmsolutions.com. He's also a leader. He runs a podcast. It's called NARPM podcast, and he's a 3x Ironman finisher, just like myself. So, Pete, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Charles. So yeah, I was a three-time Ironman finisher, but the last one was like 10 years ago. So I'm a retired Ironman triathlete. I started VPM back in 2020 when the right before the pandemic hit, and more and more people were going remote, and more and more companies started using remote workers. And I had built my property management firm here in Texas with remote team members. Matter of fact, I had 23 remote team members, 10 people in the US, and we're managing a little over 900 properties in 3 markets. And I was able to become, profitable by using these folks. And these folks, because they live in, Philippines, Mexico, Costa Rica, all these other countries, we can pay them a very fair wage for where they live. So they're making great money, and it's helping us reduce our cost. Because of that, we're able to hire more people, meaning we get more tasks done. Because in a service-based industry, whether you're in property management, HVAC, or an attorney, the more tasks, the more business you get, the more tasks you have, and the more people you have doing those tasks allows you to go from a reactionary company to a proactive company. And once you go proactive, you end up reducing churn, getting more business, getting more referrals, getting happier, in this case, happier residents and happier investor owners. And so that's what we built the
Interesting.
company to kind of mimic that, so we can help people get jobs and we can help companies in the US and Canada reduce their overhead with great people.
Got it. And first, obvious question: why did you actually retire from Ironmans?
Uh, Man, I'm just getting old. I did my last one in 2017. I was 47. Great. I wasn't in the best shape, but I finished it. And then I really, I just business became my new sport. And I really enjoy business. I enjoy actually talking and going and doing and working more so than getting on a 6-hour bike ride. So that's what happened.
Love it. And okay, so why start this company of yours? I think you started it back in 2021, right? And before that, you are VP at some companies. You also own Empire Industries since 2012. So give us like a picture of your entrepreneurial career and what you've built so far.
Yeah. So I did not become an entrepreneur until I was 41 years old. So I started VPM Solutions in 2011. Sorry, I started Empire Industries in 2011. I really didn't know what I was doing because I was an IT guy for 20 plus years. Started the business, hired a business coach, and was able, with the help of the business coach and with the help of NARPM, the National Association of Residential Property Managers, I was able to build processes, learn the industry really well. And the business coach kind of, he helped me learn the language of business, learn about marketing and sales and HR and IT and all that good stuff, and just speak the language. I then exited that business in 2019, and I didn't know what to do next. And even though I sold the business and and we sold it for decent cash, I did not have enough money to retire. So I just took a job with the company that purchased us. And their vision was, to have a property management firm nationwide, which kind of aligned with what we were trying to do with Empire. We just didn't know how to do it. So we ended up working with those guys. And I realized pretty quick, Charles, that I was no longer employable. I was a terrible employee. I like being the business owner. I like being the CEO. I don't like being told what to do, when to do it, how to do it. Also, I believe that we just had a different philosophy on how to how to treat your team and how to treat your residents. And so I decided to start VPM in 2020, and when we went live with our product in 2021. And so I just decided, all right, time. We mutually parted ways in 2021. I was building a foundation for VPM because unlike Empire, which was a service-based business, I was able to start that business with not a lot of money out of my pocket. That was a lot of sweat equity. With VPM Solutions, because it's more of a marketplace and it's technology-based business, and I'm not a developer. Even though I was in IT, I was a hardware guy. I was not a developer. And so I had to hire a development team. I had to, so you have to front that money. So it costs you a lot more money to start a tech business. But of course, you get on the back end, if it works and you grow and you make money, you can exit it for a much higher valuation than you can exit a service-based business.
Interesting. And on the side, you also have your own properties.
Yeah, so I'm still an investor. I still own properties. Not like I used to though. When I was in my early 30s, I owned 3 apartment complexes and I owned about 30 something homes, all leveraged. And we can talk about why I don't do that anymore. But
Yeah, let's talk about that.
all right, well, today I own 12 properties, and out of the 12, 8 of them are paid for. So I'm not leveraged, and the 4 that I owe money on, I owe like 300 on all 4 of the properties, and the properties are worth like 900. So I'm not. I have very little leverage these days. And the story goes that I was super leveraged, especially on the apartment complexes, and one of the apartment complexes just didn't perform very well. So we went to the bank, and the bank said, "Okay, yeah, we'll work with you. We'll restructure the loan. Don't pay the note for so many days because X, Y, and Z." And they basically lied to us and misled us. They then foreclosed on us, even though we were kind of doing their playbook. I think they realized how much the property was worth. They ended up we owed, I want to say, like 1.5 million on the property. They sold the property for 2.1 million on the courtroom steps. So they made, 600K. And then they came back to us and tried to get the 1.5 from us as well. And so if you know anything about short sales, if you do a short sale and you sell the property for more than what you owe, typically the bank doesn't come back after you. Evidently, there was something on a mortgage clause. They came back after us. We ended up, having a court battle, which took a lot of my time, effort, and money. We ended up negotiating. I think I paid them 30 grand to get out of the deal. They fixed my credit, and luckily I was not out of the game. So I was able to keep buying properties, because when you're buying properties and you're leveraging, you need good credit score. You need to have no debt to income. You need to have low debt to income. And so that was part of the deal. But they did us wrong, and I thought I protected myself numerous ways. I had mentors, attorneys, the whole thing, and you end up finding that at the end of the day, you're responsible for what you signed, and you need to understand everything that you sign. And I did not, and it could have been a really, really lifelong lesson that I never would have gotten out from under, but it ended up being a very good lesson that cost me around 30-40 grand.
Right. And I mean, you can equip yourself better nowadays, like with lawyers and so forth, I would guess. Even like a deep research and a chat GPT most of the times enough to advise you. Maybe like you need a real lawyer and pay someone for these types of deals. But yeah, I guess most people make these mistakes in real estate? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I believe that, but especially when you're buying single family homes, it's really cookie cutter, and so there's not a lot of quote unquote savvy bankers, savvy investors. When you start buying multi-million-dollar properties or $1 million plus, apartment complexes, the banks are a little bit savvier, the investors are a little bit savvier, and I'd say the rule of thumb is don't invest in anything that you don't understand. So when people come to me like, oh yeah, I got this opportunity, and they go over the opportunity, and I look at it and I'm like, I don't understand it, I'm out. Like, I just don't understand it. And so I don't, the apartment complex that I'm referring to in this case was my first deal. I had bought just one duplex before, and then I bought this 100-unit apartment complex. And you're right. With Chat GPT, I can take the mortgage documents, I can, upload it into a GPT, and I can say, find me all the pitfalls, or why this is a bad deal for me as the borrower. And it probably would have popped out some stuff. Chat GPT wasn't around in 2001, as far as I know. And and so I try to protect myself with a mentor and with an attorney. But at the end of the day, like I said, doesn't matter. It's really on you, and you shouldn't sign any documents that you really don't understand.
Right. So nowadays you run that business. Is it a SaaS model? What you've got going on right now, and how has it grown since you started it about 5 years ago?
Yeah, so it's really called a marketplace. So it's not exactly SaaS. And I thought they were one and the same, but as I'm getting more and more into it, I realize marketplace and SaaS are different. They're different animals. They're valued differently. They get monetized differently. So we're a marketplace model. And we started in 2020. We formed the LLC. We didn't get a product out until June of 21. We then had to get contractors on the platform first. We did that through October of 21. And then we finally got our first, companies posting jobs. So 21 really was not, I mean, if we made a couple of $1,000s, that was a lot. Today we have over 40,000 profiles on the platform. We got about 400 or 500 open jobs right now, and we have about, I think it's like 1,250 filled jobs on the platform. And we'll process about $24 million this year, and we're processing about 450,000 a week right now. So
Wow, that's pretty significant. And what's your go-to-market plan for that one? How do you actually grow it?
So the main way we grow currently is we're very niched, and we're niched on purpose. So one of the things that I see people make mistakes in is they like, okay, I have this product, and the product really could be for everyone and anyone, right? I mean, it's a job board. Anybody can use it, right? And I do have people that are not in real estate using it. I have some doctors' offices, and people find us. But most of my messaging, my marketing, and my dollars all go to the real estate and mainly property management. That's where I cut my teeth. I understand that business really well. So we kind of skew the product towards property managers and real estate. And so we stay niched on purpose. And because we stay niched on purpose, we can spend our dollars very strategically. And so right now, the number one way we get clients is when we go to a lot of shows, a lot of conferences. And I know that is the most expensive way, but it's also the easiest way to build trust that I have found. My business partners own a marketing firm called Geekly Media, and Geekly Media has been super helpful in helping us build a user journey and doing some online marketing, email marketing, creating newsletters, things of that nature. And then of course referrals is a great way, and then partnerships. So we've built a lot of partnerships. We have something called we call the Gold Glove Partnership, and people in the industry like coaches, consultants, even vendors that they if they find somebody that like, hey, they need a remote team member, they hand them over to us, and then we have a commission split with them. And so that's been pretty. That's we launched that in October, and we're now just starting to see fruition on those partnerships. So I'd say those are mainly our models on how we grow currently.
Nice. And what about the podcast? Does that also bring clients? What's the thesis behind it?
Yeah, that's a great observation. So I'm actually the podcast host for the National Association of Residential Property Managers. I know it's a mouthful, but NARPM is how we say it. And I do it for free, and I do it one show a week, and it's really more for people who are members of the organization, or people who want to learn more about single family property management. And the reason why I do it, and I had to pay for my own equipment and all that good stuff. It's my time and all that good stuff. But the reason why I do it is he who holds the microphone is the that's the thought leader, right? So you become the expert when you hold the microphone. So that's why I did it. It gets my name out there. I think maybe I've gotten one client from it that I know of, but I know people in the industry all know who I am. And because they know who I am, they have that trust built. Because they hear me every week, right? So they build that trust. So I can't really say it's like we got this many clients from it, but I can tell you that we've because we built that trust, people refer us and we do get clients from the pod. I just don't have the numbers. That's on me. I need
Interesting.
to have that. Yeah.
And who do you invite to the podcast? Give me a bit more details about it. How do you choose these guests? What questions do you ask them? What's your full podcast process from finding a guest to actually publishing it?
Yeah, so I'm looking for so my audience is very niched. It's property management. It's single family property managers that either own a business or they manage properties. So I'm always looking for guests that mainly that are property managers, so that they can go over and talk about how they do things, right? So we talk about how do they do applications, move-ins, move-outs, how do they deal, how do they grow their business, things of that nature. Then I also have vendors that support the industry. So it might be, Rentvine or Property Mail, the software vendor that supports the industry and why they got into it. And then I have just business owners from time to time just talk about, maybe they're not in the same industry, but they can still talk agnostically about a business, right? What marketing works for them, or how they deal with people, how they deal with training. And then every once in a while, I may even have a remote team member on there. So, but it's mainly for single family managers, super niche down. The format is we have like a 30-minute conversation. We do a commercial, and then we do what's called like a lightning round, where we just ask, 5 or 6 kind of rapid fire questions.
Interesting. Well, the podcast itself, the questions you ask them, is it like a list of questions? You have AI scan their profile and come up with valid questions, or do you
Hey,
make it
man.
up on the fly?
I make it up on the fly. I do this crap for free, brother. So you don't get like kind of what you're doing here. Like you taking it, like to the next level, and you're like the expert. I know the business so well. I know the industry so well. I've done it for 15 years. I've owned investment properties. I've managed my own properties. I've third party managed. I've grown my business. I've sold the business. So normally what I do is I ask them when they fill out their questionnaire to add for 1 or 2 anchor questions. From there, I just let the conversation take it over. And sometimes I'll have certain items that I want to speak about, but then they may say something in that first anchor question. And like just the other day, I was talking to somebody and we ended up talking about their tech stack. That wasn't even that wasn't even something that I had thought about. But then they talked about this, and I'm like, well, let's talk more about your tech stack. And then we went over what they're using for their technology, because he was managing 600 properties with 5 people, which is unheard of. And he's like, I do it through tech. I'm like, well, tell me about your tech. Like, I'm really interested in that. So I just like curiosity kind of, pivot, but I'm always thinking about like, how do I get the most for the people who are listening? Can they get at least 1 nugget or 2 nuggets each time that they're listening to the podcast?
Right. Last but not least, like what does a day in your life look like nowadays?
So I get up pretty early still. Those are from my triathlon days. If you're going to train in Houston, Texas, where it's 90 degrees, 8 months, 9 months a year, you're going to train in the mornings. So my typical routine is I get up around 4:45, 5 o'clock. I'm out the house usually by 5:30, and I go for a walk. So I'm an old man now. I do the old man walk. I've been watching a lot of videos, a lot of influencers talking about lifting 3 to 4 days a week. So I'm 55 now. So lifting has become more important as I got older to kind of build that muscle or maintain it, because you lose so much muscle. So 3 or 4 days a week, actually 4 or 5 days a week, I'll train. I'll hit the sauna. I'll walk to the gym, lift, sauna, walk back. The gym's about 2.5 miles. So I get my 5, 6 miles in, get my workout in, shower up, eat, and then by 9 o'clock, I got an hour to kind of just do some burn through emails. So I don't have an assistant. I still go through all my emails. And then from 10 o'clock to about 4 o'clock, I'm in meetings, it seems like. And then, or on a podcast, or, even though I work from home, I'm on a camera, 4 hours a day, it seems like. And then that's
Well,
it. I shut my day off around 4 or 5 o'clock, and dinner with my wife, and that's it. And we'll get ready for the next day.
all right. Well, Pete, thanks for being on today. Where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, if you want to learn more about me, you can go to vpmsolutions.com, or I'm on all the socials, LinkedIn, Facebook, or you can email me if you have any questions, pete@vpmsolutions.com. I still, like I said, look at all my emails. I'd be more than happy to, to anybody who emails me, I'll reply.
That was Pete and Charles for another Founder Wisdom podcast.